All right. So there we go. We started.
All right.
So, yeah, I'm just going to hold it. I think I'll just hold the mic.
Yeah,
I look important. What do you say?
Look important.
What's happening in this? All right. What's going on, y'all? T with Mind Readiness. And, of course, I am here with the man, NC Scout, our Vanguard sponsor. I like that word a lot.
Vanguard.
Vanguard. Isn't that like...
Sounds important.
Sounds really important. Because it is.
Yeah.
Our sponsor for Fallout, Mountain Readiness Fallout, which, by the way, after Mountain Readiness Fallout, we will be transitioning into the Sovereign Health Summit for 5 days, which you will be along for that ride as well.
Yeah.
But I wanted to sit down and have a conversation, kind of not just about business and Fallout, but also what we are surrounded by, because this is the home of Scout right here. And you grew up in this very home.
Yep.
Fire right here, the guitar, and there's a lot of history here. So, I mean, how did all this start for you? I mean, how long has this home existed in?
Oh, dude. Yes. When I tell people this is the house I grew up in, this is literally the house I grew up in. When I was born, and I was brought here as a baby, and that's kind of it. But yeah, this house extremely old. It's old farmhouse. It's been here for about 120 years or so, and that's
we just had a conversation about your head being stuck in that banister.
Banister, yeah. That was one of my
I will say those
memories.
are really, that's a big wide. Those are wide. So.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that was back in the day. That's when parents
you
talking about mid-80s here.
Okay.
Yeah, like parents used to slather everything with butter. I burnt my hand one time doing something dumb. That was another one of my early memories, and they threw butter on it.
Yeah.
It doesn't do shit
Did
for
you
burns,
ever
but
touch that stove?
oh yeah.
That's like
I actually that's the first time I got a 3rd-degree burn was
on the stove.
Yeah, from the stove, from the handle, touching it.
That's awesome.
So this is an old Fisher stove, and anybody that knows anything about wood stoves, Fisher was kind of a big deal. I think they might still exist. I don't know.
Maybe.
I haven't bought a wood stove in a long time because I haven't had to.
Because they last.
But this one so every September we would split wood. We'd harvest trees around here from the farm I grew up on here, where we're located. So we'd harvest trees, and normally get 1 oak and 3 or 4 poplar, and we would cut and split those trees, and that would be next year's wood.
Right.
So we would have our kind of you're getting ready for the next year.
Gotta have that year of good seasoning.
Yeah, and poplar, you kind of have to do that.
Yes.
Because poplar is super duper sappy and it burns quick, but it is great firewood when you mix it in with oak.
We mix it. Yeah, oak. And then we've got a bunch of honey locusts. That's another hard, man. And you got to let it season too. But that is, I swear, honey locust, that stuff, I try not to burn it if I can't get the straight sections because, those things make such great fence posts. They just don't rot.
Honey locust will throw sparks off your chain.
Oh, yeah.
On chainsaw.
Oh, yeah, you will ruin that. And we've got a bunch of blue birch. North Carolina ironwood. You might, you're running the chain.
That's like Osage. Like trying to cut that, it's like trying to cut Osage orange. It's just hard, dull a chain. And if you're running a skip chain, you forget it.
Everybody has a touch the fire stove if you're cool.
Yeah.
Because, the stove, I remember I've touched the stove, 3rd-degree burn. One of the ones, we had a wood stove, and it was like you're familiar with the old shotgun house?
Oh, yeah.
3 rooms in a row.
Yeah.
And so
They call it a
everybody-
shotgun house for those of y'all that don't know. They call it a shotgun house. If you shot a shotgun, it's going to go through the other
all the way
side.
through
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Either end, from long ways or short ways.
Oh, yeah.
It's still going through.
Yeah.
But we had these old military metal bunk beds. And, you know, I took the top bunk, and then sister took the bottom, and then Jesse kind of just ended up in the floor, my younger brother. But I remember father, he was like, quit climbing up on that with socks on, because the metal bunk bed. And the stove sat right off to the corner. I remember, I still to this day
Yes,
have
sir.
scars running up the side of my spine
Yeah.
where I slipped and
Yeah.
my back hit the
Man.
edge right here and just burned. But it cauterized it shut, you know, no blood. But yeah, you got to have a touch the stove story.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, man. But
So-
I'll tell you, a wood stove, though, for a number of years when I was growing up, this was the only way that we heated a house. And there's a lot to be said for that. You learn a lot about just life and living in general when you don't have certain
Modern
elements of
conveniences.
modernity, right? But the other thing about that is that there is no heat in a house like wood heat.
It's the best.
Nothing. Yeah.
I still to this day burn wood heat. The only thing that I did was I put a dual fuel system in because I don't have any intentions of stoking the fire up at 4 a.m.
No.
If I have to, I know how this works, but
That's
but
a
I would
temperature-based
rather
alarm
not.
clock.
I would rather
And
not.
wake your ass up quick.
But it'll burn you out. And you know, I've got a blower in behind it the whole bit, and it'll warm the whole house. There's something to be said for just alone. If you have children and you have a wood stove, you have children that never get bored because there's plenty of firewood to split.
Man, they can split firewood. You learn to build fires.
Yeah.
You open the door on it. I used to get yelled at because I'd leave the door open.
You
'cause
didn't
I
open
wanna
the
watch.
flue.
Yeah. Well, no, I'd leave the door open just so I could watch the fire
Watch the
because
fire.
that's
It's
you know,
cool.
It's entertaining.
It was cool.
And you know, it's not anything weird like he watches fire. No, I mean, you know, everybody likes watching a good fire get to rolling. And the other cool thing is that this wood stove would glow
Oh yeah.
at night, so
yeah.
you get a good white oak fire going, and it gets good and hot, and those fire bricks are rolling in there because the inside of this, for anybody who doesn't know about wood stoves, line it with bricks, and man, it would.
It was a
would-
nightlight.
Yeah, it had a nice orange glow to it. But you know, every August, so you know, we're in mid-August. So third week of August, you climbing up on the roof
Time
and
to clean.
cleaning that chimney out and
Get the
you know,
creosote out.
Yeah.
You know, if you were my father, you were cheap, very cheap, and he would never spend the money for. You know, we always had the stovepipe, and he would always buy that cheap, thin wall, single wall stuff. I remember at night, you could watch the sparks through the pipe, the little pitted holes in it.
That's nightmare fuel.
It's bad.
If
It's
you
bad.
know how
It's
bad
bad.
that is,
It's horrible.
That's nightmare fuel.
It's horrible. And I've watched sparks through those little pinholes many times.
Because of chimney fire.
no
So
joke.
this is a chimney in the center of the house. Obviously, it's you know, center pillar chimney, and homes were built like this in a particular period. But they're not built like that anymore. You would not want to have a chimney as the center pillar any longer because of the house fire danger. And so, you know, if you're running firewood, you know, we were talking about everything else now when I got to nerding out on fire. But nowadays with chimneys on homes, it's normally on one corner or the other. And that way, if you have a chimney fire, you just that's how fire departments will normally put it out, is just rip it away.
Rip it away.
And, you know, and then you
This was a little bit tougher to rip. You're not ripping this.
And the reason that homes were built like this is back, you know, before indoor power, indoor plumbing, you would either have a second home that was the kitchen house, and normally that was a sign of wealth, or if you lived in a small country house like this, you know, you're poor country trash, you would have a small coal stove inside of your home, and that would be part of your hearth. And so that's what originally in this house, that's what that was right there. It was part of an old coal stove, and then or an old wood cook stove, one of the old those old cast iron ovens, and then on the other side you'd have a fireplace that would be your primary heating means for the house.
We had one of those with the old water tank bladder on the side. You know, the old cook stove.
Yeah, yeah, I got one up at the
Those
shop.
things are awesome.
Yep.
I loved it. The best bread ever my mother made out of that stove right there.
Yeah, and that would do everything. That would be
yeah.
your all your kitchen requirements, and you do your laundry right there too. So,
Old ringer washer. I've seen many a fingers go through the ringers and other items. So, but you were raised here, and you guys were farmers. I mean, you did all the things. You were raising livestock, and you had greenhouses, if I remember correctly.
Yep. Yeah, we so the greenhouses weren't located here, but yeah, we did all that. The livestock that we raised when I was a kid was horses.
Okay.
We had quarter horses that originally came from Galax, Virginia. The bloodline came from Galax, Virginia, and we would bring colts down and raise them. And several people here in the county had horses that I broke and rode the stuffings out of them. So that was, that's what I grew up doing. And hay was the other thing, square bales. So getting up square bales, for anybody that's ever had the pleasure of that, that's some hard ass work. And I think, honestly, though, the hardest part of square bales is getting a square baler to run right. That's a lesson in frustration.
I never got that job. Mine was always on the trailer stacking.
Oh, well, yeah,
Like,
you're gonna be on the trailer.
And
that's
I don't care how many pieces of mask or tying handkerchiefs you will blow snot, brown snot for weeks.
Black nose salads coming out.
Stuff all over.
You got it all over you.
Arms looks like it won through a meat tenderizer.
Oh, yeah. And
what I think is cool, though, is that, you've done all the military stuff. Everybody knows about that. But a lot of, I would assume, the training that you do is not just based off military. It's about a preparedness lifestyle that you lived all your life.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That was one of the last important conversations I remember having with my dad. Was actually talking about that, and we were talking about my granddad, his dad, who, I had well into my adult years. He passed on after I was out of the Army. But learning lessons about animal husbandry, living off the land, a sustainable lifestyle, all of those things I think are critically important lessons. It teaches you work ethic. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter, what animals you're raising or what plants you're raising or, what you're doing. It's all about work ethic. It's knowing that, and work ethic comes from knowing that there's consequences if you fail to do something, and you accept the responsibility. If I just want to, sit on my ass and do nothing, and September is still hot outside, and I don't want to go harvest that tree because it's a whole lot of work, and whatever. I worked hard at my other job all day, and I don't want to do that on the weekends. Well, then how you gonna heat your house?
That's it.
And that's kind of that.
I had this conversation the other day too, and we were talking, and when you have the option to hit the easy button, or if you don't get all your canning done, you can just go down to Wally World.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of the issue with where we're at in today's society,
yeah.
because like you said, that was the perfect example that we were talking about. Is all spring you're planting, and
Yeah.
all summer you're tending, and all fall you're getting all that wood chopped and split and stacked.
Mm-hmm.
And I think where people maybe miss the mark because they don't have to, they're not put on that spot, is when winter hit 150 years ago and you didn't get all that done and snow starts flying, you're eating your horse,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, no one prepares like, if I miss the mark on this, I got to eat my horse and do atrocious things to survive this winter.
Well, and then you got problems come spring.
Yeah.
Well, damn, if I had to eat my
I
plow mule,
now I
and
got
that
no
now
plow
it's,
mule.
end of March, beginning of April, and I'm starting to turn the land. Well, how you gonna turn the land with a unbroke mule?
Yeah.
How are you? It's and people don't think like that anymore.
They don't have to.
They don't have to, and our our just in time supply system. I think a lot of the preparedness culture, the survivalist culture, whatever you want to call it, whatever label people want to put on it, is really uh, trying to reconcile that reality of the kind of consumerist lifestyle that people have, and searching for something more. And I'm eternally grateful of the circumstances that I grew up in. I when I was a teenager, I couldn't wait to get away.
Man.
Man, I can't. Hey, I'm going to do something else. Man, I'm gonna go do other things, and did. And then as soon as I did, I was ready to come back. And that was
Full
kind of that.
circle.
Yeah.
Full circle. I mean, I literally the same thing. We grew up, I mean, off grid, for a better lack of a term. No electricity, no running water, cooking on campfires, wood stoves,
Yeah.
living in tents. And for the first 15 years of life, I was like, this sucks. I got to get to the big city with the lights and the coolness. And then I lived in Chicago, and I lived in Detroit, and I lived in,
Ooh.
and it took me 20 years to be able to get to a point financially to go back to,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where we moved to North Carolina. It was 20 years, ended up in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Kids are born, you're raising them, you're in the rat race, you got a good job, you got bills to pay, you got these things. And so it took me basically 20, 21 years to where I was financially in a spot. The kids were pretty much so grown where I could say, okay, it's time to get out of this rat race, because it looks great
Yeah.
when you live like that as a youngin'.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
I figured out real quick, about 2 years of it, I was like, oh man, I messed up.
Well, it's and we all grew up with that kind of mentality of, man, we can't wait to get out of here. This part of North Carolina's dirt poor, and everybody's backwards, right? We would hear that everybody's backwards. We never failed to take into account, maybe because we were removed from it. Why is it that everybody's trying to move here?
Yeah.
You know, you
You're
didn't,
right.
you didn't really think about that. Why is it that everybody's trying to move here? Why is it everybody's trying to relocate here? Why does everybody want to come here and we're chomping at the bit to get out? And and then you go out and you experience some things in life and you say, oh, now I understand.
Man.
Now I want to go back.
Yeah, this isn't all it was cracked up to be. By far.
Right.
By far. Let's talk about what you've got your hands in now. So you've got,
Oh,
you
yeah.
had an awesome military career. You grew up doing the things.
Yeah.
And then of course we've got Brushbeater store. We've got Kyber optics.
Yep.
What's next on the agenda? Where are we going?
Uh, growing it. Just
keep
growing
growing
it.
it.
Keep growing it. With Kyber Optics, it's I think we have a unique position as far as having a finger on the pulse of what the market wants, knowing what the community needs and knowing what the community demands, and then seeing, because I work with all of the companies every single one of them. You name it, and I'm doing something with them, and that's a great position to be in. But I'm also seeing where the holes are, and I know based on your feedback and what the community tells me, and what I see, and I see what everybody else is not doing, and we're trying to fill in that void, and so we've got some new projects that are in motion as we speak. There was some things that I had anticipated having out that I took things and steered them in a slightly different direction, because I think there's the market needs where we're headed. I think is what the market actually is demanding. Um, a little bit on that. I think based on what we're seeing and all the contemporary conflicts that are out there, uh, thermal and night vision is kind of the path forward on a lot of stuff. And I think electronic optics, historically there's been an aversion to a lot of that, and people kind of want to go the primitive route on stuff in the survival community, avoiding batteries for things and what have you. But and we do all that too. But when it comes to enhancing capabilities on weapons for a lot of purposes, and I'm not just talking about like the day it all comes unraveled, right? But also, I was using my rifle with a thermal on it last night.
Oh, it's
I've got and
use it while you can.
Yeah,
because that is phenomenal game changer.
I've got calves everywhere right now. My whole herd is of Angus Hereford cross or calving, have calved, and I think I've got one left who I didn't even know she was pregnant until about a month ago, because she just didn't show any signs. She wasn't really. She wasn't showing all the signs. She's this is her first calf as a new heifer. All the other cows, they were showing all the signs. They start dropping, and and their hips start changing their position, and they're getting ready. And she's just rocking and rolling. All right, maybe she's either not pregnant, or this breeding cycle just didn't take for her. Who knows? And then all of a sudden, lo and behold, now she just showed all the signs.
Right.
And so she's a little bit late. The rest of them have all had their calves, and they're around. So I'm out there looking at them every night. And thermal night vision, sure, you need that for quite a few things. Movement's a big part of that. But thermal for static observation and targeting, and that's kind of where the market's going on all this stuff. We always like the gun community loves to throw around the FUD label a lot. You're kind of a FUD if you don't have thermal. Just saying. Not saying that in a negative way to anybody out there, but you're kind of behind the times if you don't.
The thermal drone that I utilize on the homestead is the most awesome. Move the needle. Coyotes everywhere. I mean, we're 40 acres in the middle of Wilkes County, butted up to 67,000 acres of game land.
You got all the
and there's coyotes, foxes, bears. I mean, we've got it all. Being able to launch that sucker and put it right out and see everything. Here's all my chickens. Here's my dogs. Here's the goats. That's a game changer. I mean, I can't run up that 10% grade hill even remotely that fast. And so thermal. Especially thermal on a drone for that type of application, you're missing out. You need it.
Yeah, I mean it's an important tool that I think is fortunately I'll say is becoming quite a bit more commonplace. Seeing that firsthand, and a lot of people are embracing it. But that's so. Long story short, what we're doing with Kyber Optics is we're moving deeper into the field of night vision and thermal than we currently already are, and providing affordable options at both entry level and the premium level, and going from there.
I guess my last question, and I was just thinking of this while we were talking. I was struggling with social media yesterday. It sucks. You're always fighting algorithm, big mouths, the platform,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I know you know all too well, more than I, that when you are in this niche business, this area of the realm,
Mm-hmm.
that you are being blasted all the time
No.
from every single direction. You're constantly,
Yeah.
whether it's and you're dealing with customer service on top of that,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
all the social media. You have worked hard in your life, and you've done well for yourself.
Thank you.
Why are you still doing this?
I don't know any other way, honestly. I don't I don't know uh I don't know what it means to be sedentary. I don't know what it means to be uh, resigned in stasis. I'll tell you another kind of quick anecdote about that is when I was growing up and doing a lot of farm work and spent a lot of time with my dad. Um, there's a restaurant at the end of the road up here, and it used to be a gas station. And if you ever grew up in a small town, there's always that gas station or greasy spoon or whatever. It's kind of anchor point. And in old stores, we're talking late 1980s, 1990s. You would have guys that were just hang-arounds at the local gas station. They didn't have nothing to do. They weren't employed by anybody. They just were hang-arounds, living
Chewing the
off of
fat.
yeah. And they weren't worth a damn. I mean, those guys weren't worth a damn. But you don't know that as a little kid. And we're going in the store to get some diesel fuel, drink, a pack of nabs, whatever it was. And one of those guys was sitting out there, and he said something to my dad, and my dad kind of blew him off, And as a little kid, I thought, that was kind of rude. We'll get back in the truck, and we're going to do what we're going to do, and I asked him, and I was probably 5 or 6, and I was real talkative and friendly with everybody, and and I asked him, why did he blow that guy off? Why didn't you want to talk to him? He said, because he's never going to be more than what he is, and I don't have time for those kinds of people, and you shouldn't either. And as a small child, I didn't really understand that. As an adult, I absolutely understand it. Started to figure it out, when I was in high school. Some of the people that I ran with, um, you kind of know that
Oh yeah,
they ain't never gonna be more than
this
what they
is this
are,
is as good as it gets.
and it's basically they're gonna end up in prison or they're gonna end up as that other guy hanging out in front of the store, looking for whatever little job to pay for his habits.
Yeah.
And that was kind of it. And so kind of I would say from there, you're always looking for a way to advance yourself. You're always looking for a way to advance your station in life. And while you're doing that, that industriousness is a way to build up the community around you too. There's a happy medium. This is my business philosophy and has been since day one, that you have to meet the demands of your community, and that your community makes you, not the other way around. And so you have to be, and this is for every entrepreneur out there. You have to be receptive to what your community needs, and be very embracive of their messaging to you and giving back to them. You've got to do that.
And that is customer service to the T,
Mm-hmm.
which doesn't exist anymore. It seems like
No,
most generally. But
no.
where is your store, and where can everybody find you?
Yanceyville, North Carolina. We are
And
Yanceyville,
it's
North
good
Carolina
old
is
Yanceyville.
just south of Danville, Virginia, and the former tobacco capital of the world, and rural county, great place, wonderful
Awesome
place,
place.
and we've got more deer than people. which is a good thing.
That's a good thing.
But you know, it's you come on by the store. We're at FFLSOT, and you know we've got all that going on in there. You can find it at brushbeater.store. You can find all this stuff online, as well as kyberoptics.net.
That's it. And on all the platforms, X, or Twitter, whatever we want to call it, Facebook, Instagram. You've got Brushbeater team, and all the places. Scout, as always, my friend. I appreciate you, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We'll see y'all there at Fallout. All right. That wasn't bad.
Sounded good.
Sounded good. I like it.
Talking about wood stains.
Man, you can't beat
I've used a hell out of that.
Oh man, you had them. Yeah, I saw you had them somewhere.
Man, I'm surprised I've had these as long as